Hey guys, I think the biggest hurdle that you'll encounter in your life is the conquering of fear and then the habit of building courage. Franklin Roosevelt said the only thing we have to fear is actually fear itself. He was basically saying feeling the emotion of fear instead of what it is we're fearful of is what causes us the most stress. Once we build our self-confidence and courage, anything is possible. I have a sign on my desk that says, "What would I do if I knew I could not fail?" What would you do? My mentor, Tony Robbins, says every human being has two primary fears: the fear that they won't be enough or the fear that they won't be loved. I also believe lots of other areas people talk about being fearful of, like the fear of, rejection, the fear of taking action, relate back to those two primary fears. Luckily, developing the habit of courage is something you can learn just like any other skill set. Realizing that the only people that don't have problems, hurdles or obstacles are 6 feet underground is a great place to start. Everybody's going to encounter problems in their life. Everybody. The wealthiest, the most successful and happiest people on the planet all encounter problems and have experienced fear throughout their lives. It's recognizing that they're going to occur regardless of who we are and not allowing them to debilitate us that separates the happy from the unhappy. All of us are conditioned from our childhoods as to what causes us to experience the emotion of fear. This childhood programming can cause us to be obsessed with or preoccupied by such fears as losing money or losing material possessions, losing love in a relationship. We can also become sensitive to the opinions of other people. In full disclosure, I'll tell you, for me personally, one of the biggest things that drove me was proving to the world I was good enough and that I deserved friendships and love. When I immigrated from Holland at the age of 6, I couldn't speak English. I was teased a lot in school, you know how kids can be. But that impacted me. Everybody has situations like that they're aware of. They may be, lurking subconsciously. The unfortunate thing is that fear can paralyze you, can hold you back from taking action and working towards your dreams and your goals. You can get paralyzed in indecision and justify your lack of action and or procrastination by blaming it on something or someone else, when it's really just fear. Realize when you're making these excuses, realize that it's your fear so you can stare it down and deal with it. And it's important to remember that lack of knowledge of what it is you're fearful about can make anyone insecure or fearful. That's why I always tell you guys, educate yourselves, like about multifamily real estate. Listen to my podcasts, watch these videos, read books, take courses, immerse yourself in this exciting field, and your fear will diminish. By learning more about anything that you're interested in, it'll build your competence and your confidence. I tell people my story about how my first year in real estate, when I was 18 years old, I only made $10,000. Then how my second year, I only made $15,000. But then in my third year, I made over $100,000. And the only difference between year 2 and 3 was my voraciously studying and learning real estate, analyzing deals, and that equated to competence, which equated to a lack of fear and my ability to influence other people. Remember, everybody experiences fear, but successful people master it. Mark Twain said, "Courage is resistance to fear. Mastery of fear is not the absence of fear." Like I said, we're all afraid, so you're not special in that regard. The question you have to ask yourself is, how do you personally deal with your fears? Do you push forward regardless of your fear? If you do, the dichotomy is that your fears actually diminish and your self-confidence improves. So does your self-esteem. The sad reversal, though, is also true. If you avoid what you fear, your fears actually magnify and your self-confidence and self-esteem are lowered, and ultimately your self-respect. A Vietnamese monk, whose name I'm not even going to try to pronounce, said, every time your fear is invited up, every time you recognize it and you smile at it, your fear will lose some of its strength. I love that. Another important distinction is that it's also important to focus on things you can control. Things out of your control are a waste of your time. So maybe you've heard the serenity prayer. It goes like this: God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So, I love that one too. It's very important to also stay positive. I know you've heard me tell you guys to focus on your purpose in life and your goals. I think you should have pictures of your goals so you can remember to focus on them. And if you've listened to some of my, other success tips, I tell you to write down your goals, write down your whys, because it's the why that's going to drive you. And definitely get pictures of it, of your goals, because most of you guys are visual. So when you hit those stumbling blocks, you get, the inevitable setbacks, you stay focused on what it is you're doing and why you're doing it. It also helps to have a support network and mentors. Fear can also cause us to feel disconnected from other people. Your health and longevity are greatly enhanced by the quality and the scope of your social networks and the people you hang around with. So go to your local meetings of like-minded people in your area. Go to your local RIA groups. Go to entrepreneur groups. Network with these people. Find mentors and peers that you can share your concerns and struggles and triumphs with. I like to get outside and walk in nature. That also helps me mitigate stress and fear. Nature always helps. It helps me realize what's most important, helps me manage fear. Being in nature not only makes you feel better emotionally, it lowers your blood pressure, your heart rate, lowers the production of stress hormones, all the things that can push to increase your stress. I'll also tell you exercise is probably my favorite thing and my favorite way of dealing with fear. I go for a run or I do some resistance training. Always helps me get clarity and mitigates any fear or stress. Just remember, the future and the world belongs to people willing to take risks, not the people that hide looking for security. What's crazy, another dichotomy is the more you seek security, the less of it you actually have. The more you focus on and go after your goals and your dreams, the more security you'll actually have. I remember another quote from Tony Robbins. The quality of your life is in direct proportion to the amount of uncertainty you can comfortably live with. The most important kind of courage for many of you is to take that first step. Do your homework, study, immerse yourself in this fantastic field, learn it as best you can, but don't get caught in analysis paralysis. Take action. That's how you build courage. Remember to focus on what you want, not what you don't want, because whatever you focus on becomes your reality. That's why I'm such a big proponent of taking pictures of your goals and writing them down regularly. Remember, if you have what seems like a huge goal or an insurmountable hurdle, remember how you eat a whale, one bite at a time. It's often that we overwhelm ourselves thinking about the ultimate outcome or the end result, and that sometimes prevents us from taking any action whatsoever. Figure out what the first step is, start at the beginning, and just start taking steps. If you're busy focusing on all the things you have to do, likely it won't work. Just focus on the first step and the next step will be revealed. Remember, you can literally drive all the way across the United States at night with your headlights just illuminating, say, 30 to 50 feet in front of you. You travel those 30 to 50 feet and you see the next 30 to 50 feet. And you can go all the way across the United States like that. The same thing applies to your big goals. Small steps are just as important, and happiness and satisfaction comes from progress, not the outcome. Remember that. It's your progress that makes you happy, any progress. W. Clement Stone said, "Thinking will not overcome fear, but action will." Taking massive action is one of the best ways I know to eliminate fear. Once you take action on something you previously were afraid of, you'll feel euphoric. Remember that feeling the next time you bump up against fear. Also remember that massive action also builds your confidence. When you decide to take action, you can learn new skills, build that confidence, and achieve your goals. So set big, exciting goals that juice you. Take massive action. And also remember one last thing, that in the face of gratitude, fear flees. It's impossible to feel fearful if you're feeling grateful. So don't forget to be grateful. My name's Rod Khleif, and in the words of the late, great Zig Ziglar, I'll see you at the top.